Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it's chilly 9 degrees, which would make it 48 in American terms. It's definitely beginning to head to the chilly side of our world. It's nice to be driving again on my way to work, and I'm looking forward to it. My word for the day is funk. And let me spell that just in case any of you misunderstood that. F-U-N for nut, K. Because I know some of your minds. You're right. So the reason that I'm going to talk about funk today, and probably for much of this week, is because so many people are feeling it right now. Oh, sorry, the dreaded windshield wipers. It's strange, you know. I talked about it on the broadcast because I found that I came out of the migraine. Actually, funny enough, I've got a bit of a headache again today. So I'll take a pill when I get to work. But I came out of that and went into a low-grade funk. And then I was talking to Leslie in Scotland, and she was telling me she'd also gone into one. And then, well, lo and behold, all sorts of people have written to me and said that they were as well. And I also am getting emails from people telling me that things are beginning to frustrate them more quickly, and they're beginning to take it personally. I think it was Lola who wrote to me, and hi Lola, just to give you a shout out, because it was a great example that she gave where the local kids, you know, just not respectful. And she, you know, tried to talk to the parents, and that hasn't worked. So then she took a deep breath and spoke to the police, but then she got scared because she thought they might retaliate, and boy, did I relate to that one. So I want to start off in terms of this funk. Lola, I want to give you just a story quickly of what I did when I was in that situation. And it might not work for you, but it sure as heck worked for me. I had the same problem. I had a house, some people who came into the street that were foster parents, and all credit to anybody, and I know some of my viewers are foster parents, so don't hear this the wrong way and run with it, but these were not good foster parents. And I think, you know, they literally saw how many children can I get hold of and make money. That's anyway, they did not in any way monitor the children. They threw them out of the house and let them cause havoc over the neighborhood. And it was so sad because I live in a wonderful street. One of the things that really attracted me to the house when I first came to look at it was that the whole street was so quiet and all the gardens were pretty. Do you know what I mean? You could tell this was a street full of people that enjoyed their houses. Anyway, so having said that, the family from hell arrived. And it included riding their bicycles all over everybody else's lawn. And then, like Lola, the children were throwing stones at cars, new cars. Lola, I totally related to that. And yes, I agree with you. I did the same thing. I went and spoke to the parents, and really what a waste of time that was. And then I thought about, I didn't actually go to the police. but I did warn the kids. I actually started dealing with the kids directly. And just gave them that option. If they wanted to deal with the police, I'd happily arrange that for them. But just keep off my property and keep away from my cars. Well, Lola, it didn't work. And then I did the last resort that I could think of. And Lola, that's the thing I wanted to tell you about. I went out onto my patio, my front patio. I have a patio at the front, I'm one at the back. And this is on the first floor level. And I went out onto that patio and I looked at the house. And I want to tell you something. I put in the most deeply serene and sincere prayer you can think of. And I said I was quite certain that God had put them in that house for a good reason, but did he realize how much he had upset the neighborhood? And whilst I didn't for a moment want to judge his decision much, he might want to rethink this one. And maybe, take the family to another area where the kids were hooligans and they would fit in, because they sure as heck did not fit in on this street. Well, you can smile or you can laugh at me, and I don't care. But I went out and I did this prayer every night for off and on for about 2 weeks. And then one day I went out and there was a for sale sign on the house. And I went, oh, that was good. Now let's sell it. I mean, it's one thing to have it up for sale, but now we've got to sell it. And it sold very quickly. But I also noticed at the same time there was a car that was in the neighborhood, and I thought about actually reporting it because it seemed to be lurking a bit in the neighborhood. Well, I later found out it was the cops, plainclothes. And it would have been a good idea if I had actually reported them. If you know what I mean. I would have shown myself to be a very responsible neighbor. Anyway, but the joke was they were gone within a month. So then, of course, being who I am, I continue to go out onto the front deck and give thanks for the next month. For a brilliant decision, in my view. Not that I wish to judge God, but it was a better decision. Okay, so let's talk quick updates. For those of you who don't know, I heard from Madame Robot this weekend that she is cancer-free, and I'll probably talk about that many times this week because it's such wonderful news. I also heard from Kerry late last night, for those of you who know Kerry, and she seems to be sort of hanging in there. She didn't get the job that she wanted, but she's hanging in there, and we know that she's a lady with way more strength than she gives herself credit for, so I have every faith that she will keep control. Just watch out, Kerry. We're going into shorter days, and for those of us who are prone to go into funk, this would be funk time coming up. So just keep control here. Get lots of exercise, do the right things, be creative, join a group, go learn how to finger paint. I don't care. Do something, Kerry. Get off your ass, lady. And you have to know Kerry to know that she would enjoy that. So the whole funk thing, I got into an overwhelm, and I'm going to talk about mine before I talk about everybody else's, because you know that I really like to make sure that you know that I am just a human being and that I am not special. I suffer from the same things a lot of you guys suffer from, and not nearly as bad as some of you suffer from, I might add. And Tono, I just want to give you a quick shout out as well, and a virtual hug coming your way. All right, so here we go. I got into the funk because I was sick for over a week on an issue that a lot of people probably thought, a day or two would be enough recovery time. Well, it wasn't. I didn't get dressed until Saturday of this week, and I didn't function. I mean, I think it was it Friday or Saturday? No, it must have been Thursday. No, I lie. Thursday I got dressed and immediately went and lay on my bed fully dressed. That was my total effort for Thursday. Then Friday I got dressed and did 2 broadcasts, and that absolutely wiped me out. Saturday I got dressed and actually had a fairly normal day, but I was very careful indeed, very careful. And then Sunday also pretty quiet, but up and dressed and doing things. Yesterday I actually got up. We had a long weekend. Yesterday I woke up and I actually had some energy. Yay! It has taken that long. And I went out and had a 20-minute walk, and I did some other things to bring my serotonin up. Now, a lot of you probably know all about serotonin. Serotonin is a feel-good juice that we create when we do certain things. And it's a chemical inside our bodies, and we create more of it when we do certain things. You've heard people talk about the runner's high. So it's a strange thing. As much as we all hate exercise, there's something about doing exercise that releases serotonin, and you actually come back feeling not only very proud of yourself for having got out the door, which we all know is the worst part, having managed to get outside the door, but you also get literally a chemical reward. So I got into an overwhelm. I'm trying to remember when it was. It might have been Saturday. You know, after I slightly overdid it with the broadcasts on Friday. Anyway, I got into an overwhelm, and I started to really worry about the fact that I had lost a week's worth of work, and I am sort of semi-retired, so I get paid for the time that I work, not the time I don't work. And so I basically lost a week's work, which will be reflected when I go to get paid this week. And that was really scary. Yeah, I've got mortgage to pay and bills to pay, stuff to do. And then I said, okay, fine, well, I should take the holiday money that I've been saving up ready to go on holiday in April. I should take that money and put it towards that. And then I thought that was wrong. Anyway, so I started to go around in circles a bit, so I waited until Yvonne came up, and Yvonne's a really good talking stick for me. When I say talking stick, she's really good for me to talk to, because she understands me. And she knows that I do best when I'm upset, if I can just logically talk through things. So I said to her, okay, fine, let me just try and work this out. And so, what are my options? Well, I could stop broadcasting on Fridays and go back to working Fridays for the next 6 Fridays, for example. And then Yvonne said to me, but you would work and then you'd still do an evening broadcast, and that means that you'd be exhausted, and then you'd exhaust yourself even more. First of all, you'd be more exhausted for working the extra day again, and then you would still try and broadcast. I know you. And I said, yeah, you're right. And she said, you've got to think about the stress that would be on your body. So I said, good point. So then I said, well, I could go in a little earlier and come out a little later. And she said, yes, but again, think about it. You could end up even more tired. So we sort of talked through it in that way, and then I said, well, what about the holiday money? What do you think? And she just looked at me and said, when did you last go on holiday? I mean, really go away and have a holiday, not just take the trailer away for a little while, but actually go away and do something totally different. That wasn't going and visiting. And I said, you're right. So that meant that I didn't touch the holiday money. So then I went, okay, fine, let me think. What else can I do? I mean, we're talking about, can't remember just how much, but it's a week's worth of money. It's quite a lot of money. So really what I've decided to do is I've decided to spend less. And the place where I can really spend less is on my groceries. And I know that probably sounds insane, but I buy enough groceries to feed, 3 people. And I throw a lot of it away every week. And then the next thing I did was immediately go out and buy, guess what? Groceries. But I did not allow myself to go to the supermarket. I only went to, all right, so this must have been Friday that this happened. Anyway, I only allowed myself to go to the local store and pick up fruit and vegetables, because I have got a deep freeze full of food. And basically, unless there is a special occasion, i.e. somebody's coming to visit, I am going to do what I can to survive on the food I've got in the house, with the exception of fresh fruit and vegetables. And then I gave thanks, because I am fortunate for 2 things. Number 1 is I do have a line of credit, and number 2, I do have an overdraft facility. So at worst, I know that, I could use that. And I did. I actually went into my line of credit and I pulled some money out to cover paying the bills, because unless I did that, I would not relax. And then I decided, when I get my pension checks, they are all going to go back into my line of credit now until I've paid off what I used. And having made that series of decisions, now I know that I was fortunate because I do have a line of credit and I can, if necessary, go into overdraft. Not that I want to, because it's very expensive. But as you remember, I had not only a week's worth of pay go missing, but I also had a computer crash that needed to be covered. So I ended up with losing a week's work plus $1,000 worth of expenses that by the time you finished, the mending of the one and the backup one, I ended up with $1,000 worth of expenses that over and above that. So what I will do this week is find out how many holidays I had left, if any, and that'll be part of, I will just, luckily we're already in October, but that'll be part of it, and we'll put those away, and then the rest I'm just going to tighten the belt and not spend quite as much. In fact, it's going to be a little bit of a game to see how well can I live with the food that I've got. And just take it easy. All right, so for those of you in a funk, great believer if you're not already doing it and taking vitamin D at this time of the year. I take vitamin D now all year round. And it really helps me with the seasonal stuff. And don't discount the seasonal stuff. The fact that the weather pattern is changing, well, for those of you who live in regular seasons, I'm not talking about your Floridians now. You guys don't understand this, or I'm talking about those people who still have 4 seasons in the year. Not the 2 seasons sun and slightly less sun. Those are two completely different seasons. But for those of us who are really dealing with not only the shortened days but the miserable days, we're getting more rain, and it's darker all around, it's dreary. Well, this is when we have to work really hard to keep our spirits up and doing stuff we love. And go find a hobby. Go do a good deed for somebody. Just be proactive. Lying around playing video games and watching TV will not make you feel better. I can guarantee it. All right, everybody. For those of you in a funk, I don't care if you just spend 10 minutes outside in the rain. Try it. I walked for 20 minutes in the rain and wind yesterday, and it was really quite an experience. All right, here's a virtual hug for those of you who need it. Look after yourselves, please. Otherwise, I'm going to end up talking to myself. This is Dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.